All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Hopefully my audio and everything is working well. If not, just somebody please drop something in the chat if I'm standing here talking and nobody's hearing me. Welcome to a session on Shine a Light on Financial Reporting. We're going to discuss some of the challenges and opportunities around financial reporting, as well as get into a brief demo. We'll leave some time for Q&A at the end, and also discuss an opportunity to try Phocas for free with your acuCONNECT data. So we'll share a bit more about that if you haven't seen that. So a little bit about myself. I'm Jordan Schrader, a budgeting forecasting consultant with Phocas Software. I joined Phocas earlier this year, but prior to that, my background's in finance. I spent 10 years in distribution, a couple of years in manufacturing and leadership positions, and really have developed a passion for data and what it can do, and also some frustrations with that, and how you can use it. We hear so much about data and the opportunities with it, but oftentimes it's not the easiest thing to get in place within our organization. So hopefully I'll share some things today that will help you with that. As we go through, just feel free to drop any questions in the chat, and we will get to those. All right. So does your finance team have the time for strategy? Could probably drop finance and just say, does your team have time for strategy? We spend so much time, collecting data, and not always enough on strategy. And if you're feeling that way, you're not alone. There's only so many hours in a day, and finance professionals know better than anyone how time-consuming, error-prone, and cumbersome manual data reporting can be. Well, the roles finance professionals play are critical. Not all that work that we do adds the same value. There's a survey out there that 40% of daily reports add little to no value. We could probably think about reports that we do on a regular basis that, maybe at one point someone asked for, and we started creating it. Maybe that report just could go away, or maybe it's needed, but maybe there's an opportunity to, automate the reporting piece of it, so there's not the manual needs to send spreadsheets out or create the spreadsheets. But really turning those reports into self-serve reports that are more easily tracked, and we reduce wasted efforts in building those reports. One of the big things with the speed of financial reporting is it slowing down our decision making. Financial reporting and really all reporting within an organization is great, but oftentimes we're reporting on the past, right? And we can't change the past, but we can try to adapt to the future and what's happening in our businesses. So the quicker we can get that data in the hands of ourselves and other users in our organization, the quicker we can adjust. And there's a lot of time spent searching for data, and then relying on spreadsheets. And oftentimes financial reporting slows down other areas of the business and other pieces of valuable efforts that we do, such as budgeting, forecasting, planning, and really just overall slowing down the decision-making process. A lot of organizations are still very dependent on spreadsheets to consolidate data. And spreadsheets are powerful tools. We can do a lot with them. They're flexible, but they also can break, or we just spend a lot of time building them, creating them, and then other people trying to make sense of them at times. So financial reporting shouldn't be a puzzle. It's we spend a lot of time on them, but it shouldn't be that hard. Yes, there's nuances, and in each month maybe we get hit with something new. But the amount of time spent there, there are opportunities with technology to reduce that time. We spend a lot of time, creating, updating, and reworking those reports, and responding to internal questions or queries, and then just a little bit of that time is then dedicated to really uncovering insights that can really help us take action and make improvements to our business and help us perform. So 61% of finance leaders identify inadequate systems as tools as a reason for this problem. So for most financial organizations, once their strategic objectives are set, KPIs are created to measure, what follows is budgets are usually reviewed and set, then forecasts are created. But forecasts require frequent monitoring. And if the performance reporting is slow, for example, most organizations maybe are able to report, maybe it's only quarterly, or by the time, maybe it's monthly, but by the time those reports get out, there's some delays in it. And it's just a cascading effect then, where missed KPIs, forecasts are not realized, analyzed in time, and then adjusted, and then oftentimes leaves us behind. Again, we're reporting on the past, but we want to report on the past to be able to impact the future. So we spend all this time putting together month-end reports, and the structure of most of that data doesn't change from month to month. The numbers themselves do, but the structure is for the most part consistent, which yields itself to being able to create a repeatable reporting process with the right tools. So another problem is, data is growing, and organizations have little time to adjust. Unfortunately, time doesn't stop, and the data just keeps growing. It's forecasted to grow by a whopping 61% by 2025. Now, that doesn't mean maybe all that data is usable, and we got to be careful not to overwhelm ourselves with data and all that's out there, and find the data that is meaningful. But it is increasing, and a lot of organizations have increased their budgets for data related transformation initiatives. Before the COVID period, according to one of FSN's latest surveys, 59% of organizations did very little to improve their budgeting, forecasting, and planning process during 2019 to 2021. That is changing, and companies are starting to spend more time on it and pick up where they left off, and are making significant changes to their process. So one of the pieces is a quick and smooth implementation, being really critical. Again, we're all busy, and we want new tools, we want new reporting, we want to improve our processes, but again, we often struggle with finding the time. So finding something that's quick and smooth to implement is definitely critical. And there are opportunities like Phocas that can get you up and running quickly. And again, we'll share at the end the opportunity to try Phocas with a trial. So organizations really need their team to focus on financial planning and analysis. And small to mid-sized business leaders only spend up to 25% of their time on FP&A, and it's really finance leaders. There's not the dedicated FP&A teams, and there's limited bandwidth, which means there's not enough time to be strategic. So the importance of speed, ease of use, reliability, agility, and accuracy is even more important. So since small to mid-sized finance leaders do not have the luxury to do much FP&A and be more strategic in their role, they require better tools and systems that give them back time. Some of the aspects of financial reporting that companies see as being important are speed. 86% said speed of the process, 84% ease of use, 72% reliability, 72% making changes. How quickly can we change models and as things change as they're coming at us, and then accuracy. Of course, that's a very important area as well. So again, we just spent a lot of time creating, addressing, gathering data, and we need to find more time to be able to really adapt and make changes by getting insights as quick as possible. So what are the benefits of transformation? So finance leaders that have made transformation are spending 19% more time on value-added activities in typical departments. It really needs to be an organization-wide activity, and it's not just always on finance or operations or IT. It's really a organization-wide activity and working together to build that out. So I'll hop over into a brief demo of Phocas and some of the financial reporting capabilities, as well as just some overall capabilities within Phocas. So I'm here on my home page, and of course we're just looking at some demo data. I often wish we had some real live customer data, because demo data is not always the greatest to work with, but it still highlights how the tool works. So I'll share a few things. So I'm going to hop into my financial statements database. And when we first log in, we see in the financial statements area, we see our profit and loss, and we have different customizations that we can make to show different periods. And we also have a couple other statement types, which I'll get into. So you can create multiple statements, multiple versions. So you could have an executive one, a manager one, depending on your needs. And then we have balance sheet, and also cash flow. So all your financial reporting can be here in one spot. And again, there's some customizations. So depending on the data that you have coming in, will depend on the dimensions you see here. Oftentimes one that I don't have in my demo data, but is one that I see is valuable as you start slicing and dicing and seeing what's going on in your data is supplier, for example, can be a valuable data point. But I'll go back to the profit and loss and just sort of highlight a few things that we can do here. So, we're looking at current, previous, budget, and then we have some variances here. I can adjust this, and if I want to quickly switch to rolling 12 months complete, for example, we can set up the different data types and get to those views quickly. So currently we're looking at a rolling 12 months, last 12 months over previous 12 months, but maybe I don't want to see my budget. I don't want to see my previous. I just want to see all the periods in that 12 months. We can pretty quickly adjust and get that view. And then if we want to do some visualizations, we can do, I'll go to my revenue here, right click, and we can go to visualize. And we get just the month to month. However, if I add back in my budget, or I could add it back in my previous, or both. Let's go ahead and add both. Again, we can right click, visualize. And now we can see how we're tracking current, previous, and budget. If I had forecast, for example, in there, I could also have that in there. So you can have multiple data points. And then there's some customizations. I won't go into all of these here, but you can customize, the different grid views and what the columns look like. Switch to bullet. We have some gauge charts as well as some waterfall charts. So really try to make it pretty easy to use, but allow some level of customization without making it too complex. These then can all be added to a dashboard, so you can build out a view, and that's where the opportunity really is to, again, create that repeatable process by creating dashboards that can be used every month, and that data flow is there and the connection's there, so that data is being updated, regularly. I'll hop into another. I'll share a dashboard here just to highlight how what that looks like. So I have a couple of them here that I'll share just to give you a flavor of some of the things you can do. So this executive financial dashboard has a few pieces of information on it. One that I liked in my business time in business was this short-term capital view. Where are we at with cash, AR, AP. Line of credit if we have it. What's that net short-term capital? Rolling 12 months revenue. So again, just highlighting how the visualization is similar to what I just showed. We have rolling 12 months net income. Down here we have our AR aging. So I can see where we're at there. And then I can quickly, like, I'll use this as an example. If I want to go into my AR detail, I can go in, analyze it, and let's say I just want to see all my customers that are 120 plus days past due. I can focus in on that, and then pretty quickly we have a list of all our customers that are past due. We can take it one step further, and we could go down into the transaction to see invoice numbers, some of those other pieces. So there's some opportunities to really create some views and high-level views, but then get into the details. Down at the bottom, and I'll jump into this a little more too, because I want to show the flexibility of the Phocas financial statements. And there's some new improvements being released this month too that are going to be valuable. This is an area we continue to invest in, and I'm excited to see where it's going. So down here I have my metrics, and this is a financial statement. I'm going to go back into the actual database view, because here we can adjust things and move around a little more. But really this is, again, the same format as what we were looking at. The statement is a stat analysis, but we're bringing in statistical data, things like working days, customer count, invoice count. Had a customer that wanted to do something with square footage, so I incorporated that into my data just as an example. But then we can build calculations off that, a revenue per customer, revenue per day, or revenue per square foot, as well as get some of our high level, like revenue, cost of sales, all the data that we saw in our profit and loss. Then as we get down here, we can start to incorporate some data from our balance sheet. So there's a functionality that allows you to pull in data from your balance sheet and create ratios with profit and loss and balance sheet combined. We have cash cycle metrics, some bank metrics, and then some overall expense metrics. So a few things to note here. I'll jump into real quick kind of the statement layout just to show you some of the flexibility here. So this is the statement setup that we can get into and use. So I'll go into my, wrong one there. I wanted to go into my stat analysis just to show kind of how some of the functionality works. So here we can add in calculations. So this is the building part behind the statement. So it all starts with, your accounts come in, there's some mapping that needs to happen. So you map your accounts to the different categories, but then you can build out, different calculations, and you see within here, some of these areas in green are some of the functionalities, like a val function, which pulls in a balance sheet, stat, which pulls in some of that statistical data. So we can start to combine, financial data and operational data and create some pretty powerful reporting. This is an area that we're continuing to make improvements to this weekend. Some of the releases coming out is where you'll be able to, hide rows. So maybe you need a data point in calculation, but I want to hide it and not see that in the actual statement view. There's some other pieces coming out. So that's a quick overview of, and I'll just quick jump into this profit and loss one just to show the account side. So if I jump over to the accounts tab, we get our list of accounts here, and then they all need to be mapped to a group. You can add additional dimensions. So if you want to create subgroups, we can create dimensions on the fly. Like I have analysis class here, and you can add additional ones in there. Back in our statement, one of the features that has come out as well is just really being able to customize the columns. So there's column builder coming out, where we'll be able to, really any view, if you want to view current month, last 3 months, year to date, start building out those visualizations. A couple other examples here I just wanted to show on some dashboards that we have here. So this is just a ratio tracker that our product manager had built out, just showing kind of some of the functionality where we can see, trends within these different ratio buckets. Here's another one, just showing some high-level snapshot information, but then also the ability to filter. And this will be, some of this filtering capability is also going to be added more right within the database. But when you add things like this to a dashboard, I can say I want to focus in on company A here. You know, I was looking at total, but now I'm quickly just focusing in on company A, and then all the data updates just for that specific company. And if we want to choose 2 companies, you know, we can do that. So Phocas is really good at consolidating data. So if you have multiple entities, even if you have multiple business systems, you know, we can bring in data from other data sources other than just acuMedica. In my past, I worked for a manufacturing company that I consolidated 11 different versions of QuickBooks, a couple of versions of Inforce Sightline, you know, all within Phocas to get that consolidated financial view. So that's a sort of high-level overview of the Phocas financial statements. I know we have a little bit of time here yet, but let's see if we have any questions. So Brandon was asking, does it pull the data from your ERP, or do you have to export and import? So with acuMedica, the integration is there to pull in that financial data. So there's a connection integration set up already where we can pull that in. And we have integrations with multiple other business systems. There are opportunities to upload data if you need to, but we try to make those integrations because, again, that's where you get the most impact by not having to, manually create reports or download reports and have that manual process there. Any other questions? Well, I will jump back over here to which I meant to do on the PowerPoint and just share a couple of closing pieces. So if you have any questions, here's my contact info. Feel free to reach out. Skylar Stanton, one of our sales executives, his contact info is here as well. And then we have some information here if you want to go to phocassoftware.com/integration/acuMedica. There's some details on the integration and getting into, there's a little brief demo on the acuMedica integration specifically. And also, I see Kristen shared it within the link. You can get a free Phocas trial for acuMedica users by following that link and do a try before you buy program and actually get your own sales data in there to get in there and play around with. All right. Well, thank you everyone for attending, and enjoy the rest of the conference.